I feel like if I died and I was able to become a ghost, I'd definitely fuck with people.
Like sometimes I see a man and I'm kind of like, oh, I don't want to be around that person just because it's a man. Get away! Welcome to Baba Yaga's crib, where fairy tales come to life. We're your hosts, Veronica
And Olga.
and we're here to unravel myths, legends, paranormal encounters, and mysteries that defy explanation, all the while creating art inspired by the current topic. So light a candle, grab a pencil, and prepare to be bewitched. You just stepped into
Baba Yaga's crib.
If you're interested in this type of content, make sure to subscribe to our channel. If you have any spooky stories or experiences you would like us to read, you can send it to babayagascrib@gmail.com. It will be in the description below.
Have you ever went into a thrift store and felt off? Like the energy is just throwing you off and you don't know what it is. So today we're going to be talking about people that bought something at a thrift store and something followed them home.
I don't think I've ever bought anything haunted, and I buy a lot of stuff at a thrift store.
Yeah, pretty much most of the set is from a thrift store. So.
My whole outfit is from a thrift store. Yeah, there's just something about objects that had a life before you. I think I'm kind of sensitive to energy, so whenever I go into a thrift store, if I feel like something is off about an object, I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever felt anything really bad from an object. I do feel weird around the dolls. I don't know if they're necessarily haunted, but I just don't like creepy dolls.
Yeah.
And they usually have them stacked on the shelf. And they all look very realistic, and it just freaks me out.
I was trying to get one yesterday for this episode, and Veronica said no because she doesn't want a haunted doll in her house. So we'll settle for a crochet napkin.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about dolls is just so freaky.
I think it's like the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Because it's human enough, but you know it's not a human. So it's just kind of like...
Especially the one that blink.
Yeah.
We had one when we were little.
Let's not talk about it.
Why?
The one that I hid in your bed.
Oh my god, yeah.
It was like super realistic looking too. That's why it was creepy.
Yeah.
I remember like the foot, like I think you dropped it and the foot came off one time.
I dropped it off the bunk bed. And I remember I didn't like it back then, and I think that's why I threw it. And then you told me that now it was going to come after me because I fucked it up. And I was like, and then I was afraid of it ever since.
And then I like hid it in her bed one time.
Yeah. I had a nightmare
about it. Did you actually get scared? Like when you thought it was the doll?
Well, yeah, it was a jump scare. You moved the cover and it's laying there. I feel like you did it more than once.
I just like to mess around with you.
I had a realistic nightmare about it, I remember. That was like one of the most vivid nightmares I've had, and I still question if it was real or not.
Yeah, I feel like we don't have a good experience with dolls, because I remember I had a doll that I would like go to bed with, and it was like a baby kind of doll. And I remember like sleeping with it or like going to bed with it, and it like, I thought like it moved on its own, and they were just like, ah, and I like got rid of it. I just had like a creepy thought go through my mind that's like, what if it's haunted? Why is this doll just like staring at me in the middle of the night? Oh, I was thinking estate sales could also be creepy to shop from. If you think about it, it can make sense for objects to be haunted or like certain thrift stores to be haunted because there's so many items that are secondhand, and you know that items carry energy.
I think every time pretty much I go into a thrift store, I feel heavy energy. And when I'm in there for too long, it does have an impact on me. Even though I love thrifting, but it can be a bit overwhelming because there's so much stuff that's been used by a bunch of different people. Maybe it's not necessarily haunted by a ghost, but I think the residual energy is still attached to the item. Okay,
so let's move on to stories. So story number 1 is coming from r/paranormal subreddit, and it's called "I'm Being Haunted by a Painting That I Bought at a Thrift Store." This one includes pictures, so I'm gonna definitely include those for the video just so we can get some opinions on what the painting could potentially represent, see if anyone has any takes on this. Okay, so I've been familiar with the paranormal page here on Reddit for a while, but have never posted until now. I'm hoping that somebody out there can help me figure out what's going on in my house and how to stop it. I've always been a skeptic, but my experience with this painting has led me to believe that there are spirits out there, some of which are not exactly friendly. First, let me give some context. I regularly go thrift shopping in my small town in Ontario, Canada. About 3 weeks ago, I went into a Salvation Army to pick up some vintage finds. I sometimes go into the housewares and art section to see if there's anything worth picking up to resell. That's when I saw it. I had always been interested in creepy, unsettling, and dark things, and this painting immediately caught my attention. It's like it was begging me to take it home. I was overwhelmed by this sense of urgency. I needed this painting now, for whatever reason. The more I looked at it, the more I discovered new details. It's not particularly nice painting. It has a very unrefined feel to it, but it wasn't the style that drew me in. It was the subject matter. It was so odd. I ended up adding the painting to my cart and continued to shop around. The painting ended up costing me only $2, which I considered a deal since it came in a relatively nice older frame. I had it in my room for a couple of days before I noticed strange things happening. I live alone in an apartment and it's generally quiet and peaceful. This all changed by the third day that I owned the painting. At first, harmless things were happening, and I thought nothing of them. Instances included cupboards opening, things falling, lights flickering. I just attributed the cupboards opening to me being forgetful, things falling because I didn't properly put them back, or the light bulbs needed to be replaced. By the 6th day, the nightmares started happening. In my nightmares, some dark figure approached the side of my bed from the closet while I'm stuck in some sort of sleep paralysis, not being able to do anything while it comes towards me. It gets closer until it's at the side of my bed. It looks at me while I'm frozen. I say looks in quotation marks because it doesn't have eyes. If I could give some sort of comparison, this thing, whatever it is like the monster out of The Grudge. I've had this recurring dream 5 or 6 nights since I got the painting, all with the figure from the painting coming to visit me. After the first nightmare, I knew that these incidents had something to do with the painting. The energy coming off of it was just dark, and it got darker and darker until I was so uncomfortable that I moved the painting out of my room.
I would move it the first night.
I know.
I'd be like, okay, I'm getting rid of this. What is the painting again?
I'll describe it later. I think she goes into kind of more detail about what it is, but I'll also show like the photo on the screen. Okay, so here's where things get even weirder. I decided to investigate the painting further and take it out of its frame. As soon as I took it out of the frame, the smell enveloped my house. The painting never smelled prior. It was only when I removed the glass and wood frame that the stench of sulfur came over everything. It was putrid. Then immediately noticed the back of the painting. I've attached the images of the front and back. I don't think I really need to say anything more about the back of the painting other than it's kind of terrifying. After the 5th or 6th nightmare, I've lost count, I moved the painting to my basement storage locker at the bottom of the apartment complex. The dreams have stopped, but the cabinets opening and stuff like that is still happening. Something else started too. I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night to hear what sounds like scratches at my front door. When I go and investigate, there's nothing there. I've asked my neighbors, but they don't hear anything. In addition to the paranormal occurrences, my health has also taken a hit since I got the painting. I've been feeling unwell, run down, and depressed all the time. I tried telling people about it, but no one really believes me. The only one who has said anything that makes me feel like I'm not crazy is when my dad came over and took a look at the painting. The words to come out of his mouth were, "Damn, that's dark." The painting itself has a very odd subject matter. This is what I see. Please let me know if you see anything different. There's a dark figure sitting in a wooden chair, staring into a mirror, with its hand on his head, almost if it's in shock. In the mirror, it's not the person's reflection, but rather another dark figure standing. It almost looks like his hands are cut off. Its arms are long, and there looks to be blood on the mirror. Or could it be something else? The walls are cracked and show plaster. There are also scratch marks with the same red as on the mirror on the walls.
That sounds horrifying. Why would you buy that? I thought it was a painting of a landscape or something that doesn't seem like it would be haunted, but this
Yeah,
sounds like it would be haunted.
I know. It's like weird imagery.
Yeah.
Also, like, I'm assuming she had it in her bedroom because she said, I took it out of my room. So why
Yeah.
would you even have that in your room?
I guess some people like darker stuff,
Yeah, some
darker
people literally
themes.
collect clown things.
Yeah. Or dolls.
I'm wondering if this means that the person in the chair is trying to escape. There's also a box which kind of reminded me of Dybbuk box in the corner of the room. Possibly the most disturbing part is the upside down family portrait. I have no idea what it all means. Then why buy it?
Yeah.
So that's my story. Hopefully, someone can give me some advice on how to remove the spirit from disturbing my home and my dreams. If anyone has anything else that they notice about the painting, any details I might have missed, please let me know. Also, the artist is unmarked. There's no date either. If anyone has seen any similar painting in style or content, please let me know. I want my life to go back to normal. There will also probably be people who say throw it out or burn it, and I would, but I have this irrational fear that whatever spirit was in that painting will get even angrier. Thanks in advance for any comments or suggestions. I greatly appreciate any help I can get. I'll show you the painting just so you know what it looks like.
Yeah, show me because that sounds. Okay, that's not what I pictured.
Yeah.
I was picturing realistic oil painting.
Describe what you were seeing.
Well, it does look like something that a child would draw. It doesn't give me spooky vibes.
Look on the back if you scroll down.
So the painting is of a dark room. There's a person sitting in a chair in front of a mirror. In the mirror, you see a reflection, but it looks like a different figure because it's standing up. There's also, to me, it looks more like a chest, like a pirate chest, treasure chest. And then there's a painting on the wall of a family portrait turned upside down. There's no faces. You can't see facial features on any of those
Does also
figures.
kind of look like the figure that's in the mirror, missing arms. Like I see that part too, and
missing
it looks
hands. It looks.
Or
like.
yeah, missing hands. Sorry.
I don't know why you would buy that.
Also, like it's weird because the
'Cause it's
thing
just-
that's sitting in the chair doesn't even look like a person. It just looks like.
It looks like it's supposed to be a person with their hands on their head. You can see the legs. And on the back of the painting, there's a cross, a black cross, and then there's red around the cross. So it looks like blood. Yeah, not what I pictured.
I feel like if you are sensitive to these type of things, and if you believe that it's like something creepy, and you have it in your room, I could see how you can almost like make you have like nightmares.
Oh yeah.
I do know like there are people that collect haunted items or they collect things that are kind of spooky or they're like into horror movies and they have a bunch of horror kind of memorabilia and posters of like scary characters and things like that. If you're just like a fan of spooky stuff and it doesn't affect you mentally, it doesn't make you like have nightmares every night, that's fine. But if you're sensitive towards that type of stuff, I am sensitive towards those type of things and I don't like to have negative theme things in my room, especially my bedroom where I sleep.
Yeah. Same. I do like darker themes in art, and that's kind of what I like to draw. And I think with my own art, I typically don't really like to put my own art on the walls just because a lot of times I see the flaws more than the good parts. But I do remember I had a calendar. I bought one of those calendars that have, I think it was a cat calendar. There's a bunch of different cats. And there's one picture that creeped me out a lot. And I didn't notice right away. But it was, there's a cat in the picture, but then there's also a mirror. And in the mirror, there is a woman standing in a dark cloak almost. It looks like the nun, basically. And it's really, really creepy. It just looks like a ghost in the mirror. And I didn't notice it right away. So when I saw it, I was like, this gotta go. Like, I just ripped it off and used the picture from the previous month.
I want to see it. Like, I wonder if you could look it up. I'm assuming you don't have it anymore.
I don't remember if I threw it out or I kept it somewhere, but I don't have it anymore. We can look it up.
Yeah, if you
Let me.
can find it, you can find it later, and I can
Yeah.
just attach it.
It's like witchy cat calendar.
There are some comments under this post. Someone says, "Start sleeping with it under your pillow at night. Let it know you aren't afraid." I don't know if that would be the best solution.
No, I would just get rid of it. You don't have to burn it or throw it out, but you can.
Donate it again.
You can donate it.
No, I wouldn't donate it though, because then what if
No
other
one's gonna
people are
buy it.
experiencing it?
I don't think anyone's gonna buy that.
Yeah, but you don't want to risk it. I don't think donating a haunted item would be like a good idea.
That's true. Yeah.
I
would try to sell it and be like, this is haunted. Some people will buy it because it's haunted.
I definitely think this sounds demonic to me.
Yeah.
Like what she's experiencing. The whole sulfur smell when she opened the painting is weird. It could be the material that they used, just like the paint smell that...
What if there's a picture underneath that the person painted over? Maybe it was something else.
Could be. But I definitely think like whatever she's dealing with doesn't sound like nice. And it also has all these like, first of all, like the nightmares, the figure that's like watching you at night that has no eyes, that we did a demon episode previously. So we've talked about this, where some of the signs that you're having like more of a demonic experience is stuff like this. The scratching at the door is creepy too. I definitely would try to get rid of it. I've never had to deal with something like this because I'm try avoiding these type of things, but let's see what other people are suggesting in the comments. I'm also hoping this person is okay because this was posted 7 years ago and there weren't any updates. This post is archived, and I think the person that posted it is not on Reddit anymore. I think it's a deleted account. So there's one person that said, "I know someone who went through the same thing you describe here, only instead of a painting, it was a doll. Same setup, went to a thrift store, saw the doll. It caught her attention and lured her into buying it, put it in her room, and felt stared at and uncomfortable." I feel like whenever you get a doll, even if it's not haunted, like you feel like it's staring at you because it literally has eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like getting human figurines and putting them in my bedroom.
"I slept over at her place and felt the same thing. She eventually also put it in the storage, and the feeling of feeling watched and her energy sucked out went away. Last thing I heard about it is that it's still in storage, but whenever she goes into the storage and sees the doll, it's like it speaks to her and asks to be brought back up." Why would you keep it? Honestly, I don't know what you could do except get rid of the painting. Some of its influence on you and your home might already need more serious cleansing. I do know that you probably shouldn't give it to anyone else or throw it away anywhere where other people could find it and maybe take it home, setting them up with said problem. I wish you the best and hope things work out for you. I'd love to hear an update about this eventually, which there weren't any, so hopefully that person is still alive. Someone said, "Pour some sage and burn the picture with the sage. Then say whatever powerful spells, rituals you can find." I definitely think like cleansing it would be a good idea, and just cleansing your space. I know that not everyone uses, like cleansing with fire as a tool. If you have more religious upbringing, you could pray. It's not really mentioned if she is religious at all. I'm assuming not, just because there's no mentions of her trying to pray to kind of get rid of it, because I feel like a lot of people would.
Yeah.
And she collects kind of like unsettling items. Like she likes that kind of dark stuff, so I kind of feel like there's not too many comments on this too, and I'm just kind of hoping this person is okay. Like I wonder how they got rid of it, if they did. But yeah, kind of feels like the painting is definitely draining her energy. What would you do if you got like a haunted item? I guess like everything if you buy at the thrift store, except for clothes, I guess. Like I don't want to cleanse it with smoke because I don't want it to smell like smoke. I guess like washing clothes when you're buying them, cleansing any items. Like if I buy a box or something, I usually try to cleanse it. You can also use like a bell.
Yeah.
Sound cleansing is also part of it. I find like smoke cleansing, maybe it's just like a mental thing, but for me, I always find it the most.
Me too. I think it is.
It makes me feel relaxed.
I think the sound helps to break up the energy, and then when you smoke cleanse, it cleanses it away. I would take that painting and mail it to Jeff Bezos.
I've seen people suggesting getting rid of it by kind of burying it somewhere far away from you, like in the woods where nobody would be able to find it, or you can like also burn it somewhere.
I think
kind of further away from your house.
Burning it could release the demon.
That's kind of what I was thinking, like if you break it, or like, what if you just paint over it?
Paint like a middle finger.
Well, what if you like put something like rosemary or something into the paint and like paint over it?
That's a cool idea. I think I would take a box, fill it with salt, and then bury it maybe somewhere.
Yeah, there's like a lot of different cleansing methods. I definitely don't think like the fact that she said that she put it back, like she put it in the storage and then things are still happening.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's not really helping just putting it away, like out of sight, out of mind.
I wonder, I mean, if it is attached to the object, then getting rid of the object is the logical solution.
Yeah.
It could attach to you. It could be attached to her by now. So
it's also the fact that she's freaking out about it.
Yeah, I would definitely get rid of it. I mean, I think that's the most obvious answer.
Yeah. I think the stories you read in the previous episode mentioned something about, it was like a demonic experience someone had where they said that their friend was going to put the demon into like an object. So that's been kind of a thing to get rid of like an entity, to put them into like an object.
It's already in an object though, and it sounds like
well,
it's
that's
not
what I'm
trapped.
saying. Maybe someone trapped them in that object.
Maybe, but they can still influence their surroundings. So is it actually trapped or is it just attached? Is there a difference between trapped and attached?
And also, I'm just wondering, what's the difference? Like, obviously, there are some, from what I understood, like ghost versus demonic entities. Like, what would be the difference that you would feel?
I think demons just have more power.
And they feed on your energy. Like, I feel like ghosts don't really feed on human energy, from what I understood.
I think ghosts
like,
usually
could
can't
they
really...
be also feeding on the energy?
They could. I feel like they usually don't. They can't really do anything physically to you, but they can disturb your surroundings.
Demons.
Maybe demons can have more effect on you mentally, and
like they like to torment, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of what she's going through. Like, but then there's also poltergeists, right?
What's the difference between poltergeist and a spirit and a demon?
Poltergeist, German word for noisy ghosts, are distinct from traditional ghosts due to their violent physical and short-term nature, focusing on manipulating objects and causing chaos rather than appearing visually. While ghosts are generally considered spirits of deceased humans haunting a specific location, poltergeists are often seen as malevolent energy or entities, sometimes associated with living person rather than a place. They cause tangible, destructive, and dangerous disturbances. So, could be poltergeist that's attached to the painting.
I think the smell of sulfur makes me think it's demonic.
Yeah.
But obviously, we don't really know for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like that she attached a picture. Ooh, I'm kind of curious because I'm just looking at the back of the painting again because it's a cross. What if someone was trying to get rid of it by putting a cross there to almost like
maybe
protect themselves from the painting? But it feels like the same style, like the way it's painted. Like it doesn't look like it's like someone else did it because it has like the same color, red almost. The family portrait that upside down is creepy.
Speaking of creepy objects, this hand I got from Valley Village, and it does give me weird vibes. Does it not?
Yeah, I mean, it looks creepy.
It looks creepy. It also looks realistic.
It reminds me of Baba Yaga though.
I know. I remember I put it in this pumpkin because it's hollow on the other side. I put it like this. And then at some point I picked up the pumpkin like weeks later and I forgot that the hand was in it and it scared me so much. I saw
It's like a shriveled up
it.
hand.
Yeah.
I like it though.
I like it too.
That's the thing. There's a difference between creepy objects and something that actually gives you like a really negative energy. And like, how do you read the difference between that? How are you able to tell what's actually haunted and what's not? I guess like obviously if you buy an object and then you start having nightmares and then like things are moving around your house and
Yeah.
like things happening, then yeah. But I just feel like just the feeling. I
I
don't know if
mean-
you can tell if it's like, oh, this thing just looks creepy or if it's actually haunted.
I feel like generally don't buy stuff that it's creeping you out.
After you bought that.
Well, it doesn't actually scare me. It's
I was just
like,
kidding.
it does creep me out a little, but I don't know. I don't get bad vibes from it. But I
Yeah.
think if I see a creepy painting, I'm not just gonna buy it and bring it home.
Yeah. I've heard just like don't buy paintings of people's portraits.
Yeah, I mean that's a good rule. I wouldn't do that anyway. I know some people buy photos of real people, like old photos of families.
My husband bought a camera that is like a cassette camera from like the 90s. And there's a few cassettes that came with it. And like some of them had footage of people. For example, like there's a video of a baby. And then there's also a video of them partying. So that's like kind of creepy in a way.
It is kind of creepy.
It's also like, why would you donate your personal videos?
I don't know.
Maybe they just didn't know that it was not empty. I'm just curious.
I don't really know. I guess
You're
people have
thinking
different
about like
reasons.
posting like a little clip from it and be like, "Hey, I have your footage. Do you want it?"
Maybe
Because
they're
it's like a
gone.
baby crawling and them talking to it, like the baby. I would want that back. Maybe.
I don't know. You never know.
Maybe something happened. But it almost felt like a scary movie, you know, when you're like buy camera and there's like a footage.
Imagine it's happy memories, and then suddenly the footage it just goes like, and it's something creepy, like The Grudge. Or
Yeah.
The Ring. Okay, moving on to story number 2. It's from r/paranormal, and it's called Advice Wanted. I think I thrifted a haunted item. Hi everyone, I hope the sub is open to this post. I thrifted an item that I think is haunted, quotation marks, because I cannot think of a better word. I used to have a lot of reoccurring dreams and nightmares when I was a kid, but that went away with getting older. Recently, I've been having reoccurring daydreams, always about the same person, that gives off a very somber, yet not at all evil feeling. Every time I think about death or something related to death, the same image of this person comes to mind. I like the words to explain why or how, but the item I thrifted, I feel like belonged to that person I am seeing, and I have envisioned this person with said item in those dreams. I would like to discard of the item with respect to the person it may have belonged to. I was thinking of putting it in a nice box or a bag, going on a walk in the forest, and leaving it in a beautiful open place as a resting place. Does anyone have an opinion this is a good/bad idea? This could all be in my head. I'm obviously very aware of that. However, I'd still appreciate some honest advice. Little heart emoji. Disclaimer, the item or box I'd use don't contain any pieces or materials that could pollute the environment.
That's a nice idea. Being respectful towards whatever is attached to the object. What was it again?
I don't think it said. It didn't mention what the object is.
Oh, okay.
But it says it doesn't contain any pieces or materials that could pollute the environment. So I'm struggling to imagine what it is. Unless it's something wooden.
Yeah, if it's like a wooden box or something. Is there any comments?
Yeah, let's read the comments. So one person says, is it burnable? If so, burn it. Supernatural fans know this. Jokes aside, burning equals sending the item to the spirit world and putting the soul to rest. Fire cleanses impurities. I don't think burning it is necessarily disrespectful.
No,
I don't think so. It's also if you maybe say a few words before you do it and you do it
Yeah,
in
I
a
guess the
nice,
intention matters, what
yeah.
you're trying to put into it, like the energy that you're trying to send away. Because I feel like just burning it without like having any type of like thoughts in your head, other than just like get rid of it,
Hmm.
maybe it could not help. Like it could attach to you instead. Like I don't
Yeah, what if
really
it's
know.
like, I'm jumping ship, I'm attaching to you now? OP responds and says, I do not think so. It has many different layers of textile that is supposed to be thermal. I don't really know what that means. And then the person that commented initially said, gasoline maybe? Someone else responds and says, I would bury it in the woods, far off a path, or anywhere you'll visit. I think burying it is also a good idea because earth, I imagine the earth kind of cleanses it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because that
Or
is,
you can. Well, I guess you're not supposed to put salt on
yeah,
the ground.
salt's bad for for soil.
But if you could
But
put like something on top to kind of.
if you bury it, I know some people cleanse their crystals or certain objects by burying it in the ground and then digging it up, and it's cleansed from the earth's
Pour
energy, I
some
guess.
moon water on top.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of burying it, honestly, over fire, just because I feel like you will hopefully avoid the spirit trying to attach to you if you just
Yeah,
bury it.
because then they still have like a place to be versus
Hmm.
like burning it could be almost like releasing it.
Someone says, when I lived in Japan, one of my roommates thrifted a little statue of a rat. We thought it was funny. Then one night I was woken up by another roommate and brought into their room, and the temperature dropped. Colors were desaturated, and the roommate who thrifted it was shaking and convulsing. We performed an exorcism, then threw away the item, and the color/temperature returned. That is literally the only paranormal thing I've ever experienced in my life, but it taught me that certain objects really do carry a spirit with them. I'd get rid of it. Someone else says, just throwing this out there, this object could have come into your life for a reason. If you're not quite frightened or in danger, explore what your dream might be trying to tell you. Perhaps some conclusion, reaching out, or healing needs to happen with this person. Lean into the message, interpret it, record the dream in a journal, consult divinity, I Ching, tarot, etc., as to what you need to do next with the object. I feel like that's doing too much. It's not really your job to do that,
Yeah.
especially if you're not experienced, if you're not a medium or a witch, and that's not something you're interested in. I don't think you should worry about that because you could potentially do more harm than good.
Yeah.
I would not listen to this person.
Moving on to story number 3 from r/paranormal. I think all of them are pretty much from that subreddit. And it's called Spirits Attached to Thrift Store Merchandise. I've been lurking on Reddit for about 3 years or so now, so I figured it's time to make a contribution. I used to work for a popular thrift store chain until last spring. I was one of the supervisors, and almost always worked the closing shift. As part of my nightly closing routine, myself and a team member would walk the inside perimeter of the entire store to make sure there were no customers in the store, lock all the doors, and arm the building security system before leaving. On more than one occasion, we would check the restrooms and find the sink running, even though I was usually the last person to use the restroom, and I knew for a fact that I turned the faucet off every time. I would share this information with my team, and naturally, we would spend the rest of our time closing the store trying to debunk it. One night in particular, while we were doing our perimeter check, I opened the janitor's closet and peeked inside for anyone hiding. The coast was clear, and I turned around to close the door when my team member and I both heard the faucet squeak on. I opened the door again, and the water was running when it hadn't been before. Another incident at the same location spooked me and my new management trainee to our wits' end. At our store, there were automatic doors with side panels that swung open in case of emergencies. One evening, right before closing, I was putting baskets away and noticed one of the panels was wide open with no one in sight. My immediate thought was the shoplifter went out through the emergency panel, so I closed it and locked it, then went to review the camera footage. My management trainee had been in the office working on their training materials and decided to watch the footage with me. What we found was not caused by a physical being. The emergency panel swung open at full force by itself. closed slowly, then slammed open again. Please take note that these panels require a lot of force for someone to open. I proceeded to ask the rest of my team if they had noticed anything, and no one had given it a second thought. There were a number of smaller incidents that took place at that store, but these are the most significant ones from when I worked there. Being a thrift store, I can only imagine what is attached to some of those items. Gives me the chills to this day. Would you ever work at a thrift store for a discount?
I don't think I would, just because I've heard too many horror stories from employees, and not regarding haunted objects, but regarding the disgusting things people donate, like used underwear,
True.
clothes that has bugs on it,
Yeah, because you have to go through all that stuff.
dead rats and old boots. Yeah, no thanks.
I feel like it would be cool because then you get like the first dibs on things, like if you see something that's good, but
I don't know, do you? Because I've heard sometimes that they don't want you to buy the stuff if you work there.
I don't know.
If you work there. I've heard that from one person.
I wouldn't want to work there then.
Yeah, fuck that. I think if you're working there, you're probably allowed to buy it, but maybe they don't let you hide stuff or set it aside for yourself. Which is kind of stupid, because why do you care who buys it?
Yeah.
It's fair to let the employees put things aside if they like something. Hello.
Hi, Rafiki.
Rafiki.
Someone said, I also worked at this thrift store chain. I think it might be the same one. And I'm also a supervisor. And hell yes, some of our items bring in some bad juju with them.
We don't really know why spirits attach to items. I think some spirits want to stay in this realm because it's what they know. Imagine you're dead and you don't know what's out there. You just want to stay where you feel safe. Yeah.
You don't want to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. I think some spirits have a hard time moving on. What if spirits know what waits for them on the other side, so that's why they don't want to go? Maybe it is kind of bleak. Maybe it's a choice between going to, maybe not hell, but the underworld, kind of like in the Greek mythology.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, is there another alternative to afterlife?
Maybe they don't want to forget. Maybe they want to stay attached to an item. Maybe they miss their family and they want to... Imagine they possess an object that their family owns and they got attached to it because they want to stay with the family, but then the family donated it. So now they're just have to endure being around people they don't know, so they're acting up.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, that's so sad. Maybe it depends on how they die. So if they die... Because, you know, when they say someone dies in a violent way, there is a higher chance there'll be a haunting than if someone passes on peacefully. If someone was murdered in the house, I would think that there's more of a chance that soul would linger because they died in a violent way.
Yeah, like, do you think like there are some people that are more forgiving and easygoing? Do you think those people would have like easier time moving on than people that are vindictive and they're almost seeking like revenge?
Maybe. I think some nice people might have a hard time moving on too.
You actually got it.
Oh shit.
They're sugar-free as well. Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day. So I'm gonna have burps now. Moving on to the next story. Story number 4 from r/paranormal. It's called, I had a terrifying experience today in Goodwill, of all places. Please help. Please, no jokes. I'm frightened, and I'm not a person who scares easily. I live alone and saw a backpack deep in the woods for fun. I sleep like a baby, or I used to. Today I had one of the best days of my life. Things have really turned around for me, and I was in a great mood. I love thrift shopping, so I decided to stop at Goodwill. While I was in the houseware aisle, I had the feeling that someone was watching me. I turned around, and there was only one other person in the aisle at the very crowded Goodwill. She appeared to be between 18 and 25. She was very pale, with dark hair, and dressed in all black. She didn't have anything in her hands. She was not holding a purse, and she wasn't looking at anything except me. Her eyes were incredibly dark. I was immediately uncomfortable. My first thought was, what is she doing here? She doesn't belong here. Rude. Then every cell of my body propelled me away from her at lightning speed. I picture like Sonic the Hedgehog running away.
She's like, ah! Have you seen that video? It's like a CCTV footage of a woman and another woman. They're like talking, and then the guy comes up from the back.
Oh yeah, you
He was
sent me
like,
that.
yeah, he was dropping off something like on Facebook Marketplace that he was selling, and the girl turns and she's like screams, but like so loudly.
Yeah.
And this like the guy's just like standing there. He like also didn't say anything. He was just like, sorry.
I feel like that would be me if I were him, because I'd be like, oh, they're talking. I don't know if I
Yeah.
should say something or should wait, just awkwardly like approach.
I feel like he also looked like a clown.
Yeah.
Like if you just briefly look, he just had like red like curly hair.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if she just like, was it during the time when the clowns
Yeah,
were
I was thinking
haunting
that. Probably,
people
yeah.
on the
Creepy clown
streets?
sightings.
Yeah.
He also had sunglasses that made it look like his really big scary eyes.
Like from the camera, it almost kind of looked like he was wearing some type of makeup, but I don't think he was. I think he was wearing like a headband, and he also wore a colorful outfit.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she thought like she saw a clown and she was like, ah! This poor guy, he seemed so nice too.
This is when the thing that really bothered me happened. I walked away from her with my cart, and then I turned my head and she was beside me just across the aisle. It was like she had teleported. It scared the shit out of me. I decided to leave. As I was going to leave the store, my niece and her family happened to walk in. I swear we don't have family reunions at Goodwill. This was a day of such strange coincidences. I spoke to them briefly and then I left. The woman scared me, so I decided I just wasn't going to think about it anymore. I went about the rest of my day like normal until about an hour ago, when my cell phone rang. It was my niece's husband, but the call did not connect. That's not super unusual because I live in the woods, so I tried to call him on my home phone. That wouldn't connect either, and that is unusual. That's when I received the text from him that said, "Hey, really odd, I know, but do you remember a young woman dressed in black / emo style at the Goodwill today? Maybe 18 to 25. I had chills all over me as soon as I read that, and I was instantly viscerally terrified. I knew that he had seen her too. I tried to call again, and this time the call went through. He had the same exact experience I had. The soulless yet soul-stirring look, the teleporting, the dread and desire to get away from her. He's a fully grown adult man with a full-time job in the family, and he typically would not be afraid of a random woman at Goodwill. I feel like it's important to mention here that my niece never saw her and thought her husband was crazy until I confirmed the story. I don't know what I saw. I don't know why my niece's husband saw it too, but she didn't. I don't know why it frightened us both so badly. I shut all of my curtains and blinds. I locked all my doors.
I don't know why, it just sounds kind of funny. I'm just waiting for more details, like if there's anything else. But it's like, why is she so scared of
He
this
saw
lady?
an emo at the thrift store and was like, I am never leaving the house again. I lit some candles and asked for protection. I have been shaking. I'm 50 years old and I'm scared. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Take your time. I'll be up all night.
I want to have that effect on people.
Me too. Update. I was not up all night. I lit white candle, salted my windowsill, said a prayer, and went to sleep. I still have no idea what actually happened yesterday, but I'm not going to go back and stop thinking about it. It didn't come home with me, and that is enough for me. I also remember another strange experience I had several years ago. I was in an antique store when I turned the corner and I saw a man that I instinctually felt was a ghost. I walked straight to the cash register at the front and I asked the man if they had a ghost in the store. I thought he was going to laugh at me, but instead he yelled to the woman in the back, "Marie, the ghost is out here bothering people again."
What do you think? Could it just be like a girl that just looked a little unsettling?
Yeah, it could be.
There's a lot of those people in Goodwill.
True. It could be a ghost, but it could also just be a teenager.
I don't want to be mean to the OP because they're like obviously felt unsettled by this experience and they had an experience like this before. So I don't want to like laugh at it and be like, haha, it's just like a person that you saw. Stupid. But at the same time, like, what made it so unsettling? Like the fact that she was just staring at her? Because that could just be an odd person too.
Maybe it's just the vibe that they got from the encounter.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get that from real people.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it could be just a creepy girl, like,
Maybe. But she teleported.
from their point of view. It's like, when you're in a store and someone comes up to you and tries to be like, have you heard about our sale? But, like, you don't expect it, so you're just like, ah!
Get away! I remember one time I felt like the creepiest feeling. I was in Winners and I saw this older man. He was in the aisle that I was in. And I don't know, I just got like a gross vibe from him. Like just like, I don't know why, I just don't want to be around this person. And I walked to a different aisle and I was smelling candles and then he came around and he like kind of stood next to me and then he asked me something, like almost trying to start a conversation. And I just walked away because I was like, I don't know why I'm feeling very uncomfortable right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, usually you feel like that, or I feel like that when a stranger approaches me, but at that specific time, I just felt like this crawling sensation.
What did he ask? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. It's almost like he was trying to just talk to me, like start a conversation about something. I don't know, I just really didn't like the vibe. The vibes were off. So
I mean, anytime
left.
someone just like stares at you, that you don't know.
I
who
know,
it
but
is.
I feel like that specific time was even worse. Like I feel like
Do you
usually
think he was a ghost?
I don't think he was a ghost. I think he was just a creepy old man. Sometimes it's not even that they're necessarily said anything or done anything yet.
Yeah.
It's just a vibe that you get that you're
And then
don't trust them almost.
Yeah, and then you almost feel bad because you're like, well, I don't want to
Yeah.
assume that this person is bad because like they haven't done anything.
Someone said, in all seriousness, OP, you probably saw someone that was high as a kite and dressed in an odd way. Could be that she was fixated on you in the store for whatever reason a junkie might have. Odds are they forgot about you very quickly after you left. It was good of you to leave when you did, and I think you're perfectly safe. I've seen junkies in their gear in stores, and this pretty well fits the bill for someone on meth.
That's very specific. It's like if they wear a black outfit and look like a goth, they are definitely on meth.
Yeah.
It's like that vampire girl story at the bus stop.
Yeah. Someone says cover your mirrors or turn them towards the wall before you go to sleep. You think she's gonna crawl through your mirror?
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like that's an overreaction because like the OP didn't have any type of like negative things happening after that. I feel like it was just like a spook at the store, but like it doesn't necessarily, like they said, it didn't follow them home. So
someone says, lol, you got scared of a teenager.
That's what I'm saying.
Someone else said, it is almost hag season. What is hag season? Halloween? There's a comment that says, I believe every word of your post. A few months ago, I bought 2 small items at the Goodwill. Cat figurine and cupcake tower. Horrifying. Innocuous. Innocent looking. Over the next few days, husband and I heard dishes falling inside our kitchen cabinets. When I opened the doors, everything was fine. We're watching TV with mom, and my husband hears the doorbell. He checks. No one is there. This happened again over the next few days. Mom and I do not hear the doorbell ring either time. Next, we both have money missing from our wallets. The sound of doors opening and closing. The cat stole the money.
Do you think it's the cat figurine or like the cupcake tower?
The cupcake tower, the most suspicious.
Evil cupcake tower.
Just imagine it grows little legs and runs away like like the $20 bills.
I'm thinking of like a cat figurine could belong to like a cat lady, like an older woman that lived alone and maybe she's not happy that someone took her home. She's like, I'm gonna take your money, bitch.
The last straw was when we were out at a dinner. Mom calls to say something smells like burning and she hears alarms. So we rush home. On the way, we get text from our security system saying the bedroom window has been breached. I'm frantic about my 92-year-old mom's safety. When we get home, nothing is burning. No smell. Windows are all closed. We call the security company, which has no record of a security breach or system failure at our property. I said, that's it. I grabbed 2 items in the Catholic Light newspaper and told my husband to take them to the trash bin outside. He said, BS! I'm driving them to the dump downtown. My house had been quiet ever since. The 2 items were the only things new to the house. So I felt strongly that was the connection. I won't buy anything at Goodwill again. Edit, I should say this all happened in a 2-week span.
I feel like if I died and I was able to become a ghost, I'd definitely fuck with people. Like, that sounds so fun.
Right?
Like, I wouldn't do anything crazy, but just like small things. You
Steal their cash from their wallet.
Yeah. You're coming home with me.
I'd just act like a cat, like knock things off the table, vomit in their shoes.
I don't think you could actually vomit as a ghost, but
Watch me.
what would you do if that happened to you? Like, if you saw something like that at a store, like, do you think you would assume that it's a ghost? I guess it depends. Like, it's hard to know. Like, it's like the feeling that you can't really explain.
I think it's possible it was a ghost because they also said that they saw another ghost at a different antique shop.
Yeah, so maybe that person just is more sensitive towards like these type of things.
Like, is it clairvoyant when they can see stuff?
I feel like it would be cool. Like, I don't really want to have like a supernatural experience that's like in my house, but it would be cool to have something like that where it's just like in a place that you briefly visited and you saw something, just to have that experience.
Yeah, I think it would freak me out,
But
it would be
I
kinda
don't want it
cool.
to like follow me home. I just want
Yeah.
it to like experience it and be like, this happened to me one time. Well, I remember you felt very unsettled in our first like apartment when we moved to Canada.
But I think it was because I was just little and I was far away from everyone. My room was at the end of the hallway, and
Wasn't that
yours
far.
and parents' room. It was kind of far. It was a long hallway.
Yeah, especially because we used to like sharing a room.
I didn't like the hallway.
I feel like the worst one that I've had was like
I didn't feel that weird. And
I didn't feel like that weird like regularly, but I feel like I've had
we both had
I
the weird dreams
remember-
with a mirror, though.
yeah, and also remember like the first night. I don't know why. I just felt like so scared to like sleep in my own room. So you all slept in like the living room?
I did have some of the craziest nightmares in that house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just feel like it's not necessarily like a haunted place, but I feel like it was a place that was close to university college. It is like an older building. So I feel like there's a lot of people going in and out, like kind of renting it short term. So I feel like there's a lot of energies that pass through the house. They could just been like a residual energy from people living there.
We also didn't really
I mean,
cleanse the
yeah.
house at all.
Our parents are more religious, so they had some icons and things like that. Like, it's not necessarily, I didn't feel like, oh, it's like there's evil in this house. It felt certain energies weren't the greatest. I wonder also different rooms could have. You also had that creepy little door in your closet, so I
Yeah.
wonder if it just subconsciously was like freaking you out.
I
'Cause we
always
also
kept the
talked about it.
door closed. But the doors on my closet had mirrors, and they were facing my bed, which I didn't like. Someone comments, I feel like I've learned over the years that when something is lingering, a soul for the lack of a better term, they will pick someone that is open to seeing them or someone that may have something that makes them seem more relatable to her. You and your niece's husband may have been more open-minded, or you have a characteristic that the poor girl felt drawn to. Something is probably in that store that belonged to her, and she's trying for attention that she may not have gotten while she walked with the living. I am going to be honest, my husband and I have brought so much secondhand stuff at thrift stores that for a while I felt sure we brought someone home with us. I firmly believe that the poor girl was a little troubled while she was alive by the way you described her, and now she's lurking, wondering why no one is acknowledging her. That sucks.
I know, that made me feel sad. Because, like, what if some spirits do that to get attention, to get, like, help from you?
Yeah.
Nobody sees ghosts, right? But she looked at the girl and saw her, so maybe the girl was like,
maybe she doesn't realize she's dead and everyone ignores her, but then one person looks at her and she's like, wait, come, like, talk to me. Aw, that sucks.
and I mean, like, not everyone can deal with that. Like, not everyone's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna help this ghost.
We also don't know what if it's a demon pretending to be a ghost, pretending to be an innocent girl looking for help, like Annabelle the doll.
I think demons don't have, like, a physical manifestation, though.
It's also if this person was really scared by the sound of it. So I don't know if it was a nice spirit.
True. Like, they would
I would
not-
trust your intuition.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, actually. Don't trust every ghost.
I mean, treat it like you would treat regular people. You wouldn't trust just a random person on the street. So I'll apply the same logic to spirits and entities.
Okay, so story number 5. It's called I Think I Bought a Haunted Item on eBay. Hey all, I'm new here, but I'm wondering if anyone has experience with secondhand items that feel off on first handling. The item in question is a beautiful vintage independent order of Oddfellow ceremonial robe. I believe to be around 100 years old and is beautifully preserved for the most part, save for a decidedly disturbing stain on the inner lining. I believe to be rust initially from the listing photos. This one also has photos, so I'm going to include that as well. When I unboxed it, a distinct house fire smell hit me like a freight train. Touching it elicited a queasy sensation of vertigo that's difficult to explain, but wholly unlikely anything I've experienced prior. There's very little info about the item in the original listing, just that it was purchased from a lodge sale and came to me from Mansfield, Ohio. A little light research yielded articles about a lodge fire in Columbus in the 1930s, which frankly has left me more suspicious of the overwhelming smell wafting off of the thing. A little weird icing on the cake. All of the initial photos I took of the thing laid out to show friends are saved upside down in my camera roll, despite being taken right side up. Odd. Feeling a bit like it may spend the night in my car instead of my bedroom.
Good call.
Photo rotated right side up, a touch for opinions, suggestions, perhaps words of encouragement.
Why do people always put creepy items in their bedrooms?
Well, this person didn't. Look, this is the item.
Ooh, cute. I guess I put clothes in my bedroom because that's where all of my clothes is.
So this one makes sense, I guess. Okay, so there's some comments that we can look at. Someone said, put it back on eBay and have it listed as haunted. People pay a premium for shit like this. I had a friend back in the day that used to buy porcelain dolls and list them as haunted, and people would buy them for 3 times what he paid. He said only the first doll he ever bought he had weird feelings about, but afterwards he was just scamming people because he was making good money from it.
What a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Don't trust people on eBay.
Yeah, I guess if you want to buy a haunted item, maybe go to Goodwill instead.
Yeah. Try to feel it out yourself.
OP responded to the comment. I actually intended to wear this. I love a spooky boho vibe, but I've got to figure out how to safely get rid of the stench and the overall feeling of impending doom first.
Maybe try dry cleaning.
Yeah, that could work. I don't know if it would get rid of the smell though.
I don't know, maybe. This is why I would be in trouble if I bought something that was haunted, because I buy so many things like Goodwill, I would not be able to tell which item is causing the haunting. I would just be like, I have to throw everything out. Everything I bought.
Just sage the whole house.
Yeah.
Haunted or not haunted, drip is drip.
Honestly, that's part of the fit. Is the fact that there's a ghost attached to it. So this next one isn't really a story. It is from r/paranormal and it's called, Has anyone bought a cursed item before? Has anyone bought a cursed item before at either an antique store, flea market, yard sale, or garage sale, etc.? What happened when you bought the item and returned home? Did you keep the item or throw it away, burn it, or return it? I would love to read someone's experience with a cursed item. I've always been very hesitant on buying an item from a yard sale or an antique shop. I'm so scared that I'll only look and never touch, lol. So the first comment says, Hexed figurine from Greece caused night terrors and sleep paralysis, and I blamed it for the death of my cat. Trigger warning, obviously, this does contain the death of a pet, so if you're sensitive to that, skip forward. My sister was in Delphi, Greece on a study abroad trip and purchased 3 owl figurines. When making the purchase, the shop owner told her to buy either 2 or 4 owls, but not 3. My sister insisted she needed 3. After some back and forth, my sister completed the purchase of 3 owls, and the shop owner told her that she was placing a hex on one of the owls because she bought 3. My sister brushed it off.
That's so weird.
Fucking rude. Someone buys your owls and you're like, I'm cursing you because you bought 3, not 4. I would be like,
take it.
Yeah.
I don't need it then.
I'd return the owls. I guess at that point she already paid for it, so the shop owner could be like, nope. You're keeping them.
Why would they do that?
What if you're like, okay, I'll buy another one? Would she be like, I'll take the hex back?
Bad business practice.
Yeah. Number one thing you should not do if you run a business is curse your customers.
If they're buying too many items?
If they buy too many owls or not enough owls. Once she was back home, my sister presented me with 3 owls figurines and told me to choose one for myself. I didn't know the hex story at the time. I chose the owl I liked the most and took it home, happy to have a souvenir from Greece. Over the next few months, things got really strange. I started having night terrors and sleep paralysis. I had an overwhelming feeling of dread. I thought I was losing my mind. My cat, named Minerva, named after the Roman goddess of wisdom and war associated with the Greek goddess Athena, sacred animal is the owl, began knocking the owl figurine into the floor every day. I assumed she was just being a cat and doing cat things. At this point, I still don't know about this supposed hex. One night, around 1 a.m., I believe, I got a text from my sister saying there was a beautiful white owl in the tree outside her window. I was awake due to my insomnia, caused by fear of sleeping, did not want more night terrors or sleep paralysis, and immediately called my sister. She wasn't too surprised that I was awake at that hour. She was excited to tell me about the owl, but I stopped her. I was crying, and I said, I know what this means. Minerva is going to die. I don't know how or why, but something told me that Minerva knocking the owl over and the owl visiting my sister meant that Minerva was going to die. I explained this to my sister, and she started crying and told me about the hex the old shop owner claimed to place on one of the owls. I freaked out.
I feel like if that happened to me, I wouldn't give that away. I would just like try to get rid of it. If someone like said, I'm hexing this fucking item, why don't you give it to your sister?
If you don't, she didn't say which one she hexed. I don't think.
I would just fucking throw it out.
Yeah, but if you don't believe in that kind of stuff, you're just like, yeah, whatever, old lady.
True, I guess. I don't know.
I put the owl figurine in a glass of sea salt.
She believes in it now.
I put the owl figurine in a glass of sea salt. Within a few months, my sweet Minerva cat passed away due to an unexplained kidney failure at the young age of 3 years.
What the hell?
I fell into a deep depression. That was 8 years ago. I recovered from that depression, but will never forget that experience and how it changed my life. I don't understand why the shop owner put a hex on the owl, but I truly believe it was real.
That's dark.
Yeah, the shop owner is a fucking bitch.
I'm wondering, like, I'm just imagining in my head, like, she's trying to haggle.
Yeah, but at that point, she already bought. She bought 3 owls from you. What more do you want?
But, like, I'm just wondering if there was, like, miscommunication, like, with the language. Because, like, I don't know if she was speaking English to the sister. Like, I'm just imagining in my head, like, you're at, like, this, like, marketplace outdoors, you know, where there's, like, this, like, old Greek lady selling stuff. Mm-hmm. And maybe, like, what if she stole one? This is the story of the sister. If you don't know the actual point of view of the lady that cursed it. What if the sister is sketchy and she stole it or something and that's why the lady put a curse on her? One of these people is a bitch and I don't know which one.
I mean, I get it. If you're not superstitious, you don't believe in curses, I would just feel bad giving an item to someone that someone else said they have cursed.
Yeah.
But I'm
and then
superstitious.
Their cat died.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they all believe in hexes now. Yeah, that one's a sad story. What is it about the number 3 that she didn't like, that lady?
I don't know, maybe she just wanted to sell it in pairs?
Maybe. Maybe she's like, if you buy 3, it will give me bad luck, so I need to return that bad luck to you instead.
It seems like a sales tactic.
But
it's like,
oh, if you can buy 2, and that's fine.
Yeah, but maybe she was like trying to force her to buy a 4th one.
Maybe.
It's like a shitty tactic. I would just like walk away from it. Like if someone told me that.
What would you do with the owls?
But like I'm assuming she told her initially that you can buy either 2 or 4.
Yeah, but if you bought the owls already and the lady said I cursed one of them, what would you do with the owls?
Throw it at her face. I literally wouldn't even care about the money at that point. I feel like I'm too superstitious to be like, okay, I'm just gonna take this cursed fucking owl and give it to my sister.
I'd be like, what the fuck did you just say to me? I would not leave. I'd be like,
come again? I'm gonna
curse my fucking owls, or I'm calling the police.
I would be like, I curse you, bitch. You don't know you're dealing with a witch. Are there any other stories?
One commenter says, my grandmother gave me a demon skull wall hanging decoration that gave my mom nightmares for 3 nights before she made me get rid of it. I only had it unwrapped once out of the plastic before I had to put it away in a box myself because it started to make my owl, or still thinking about owls. It started to make my own skin crawl.
What the fuck?
What's with all these old ladies giving weird haunted objects to people?
Remember that time Mom's friend bought like a Chucky doll?
Yeah. Someone says, I have an old suitcase that my old roommate had multiple nightmares about. I never got any bad vibes from the suitcase. It was my great uncle's, and he was an artist in the 70s, and he had painted a giant eyeball on it so he could recognize it at the airport.
Oh my god, that's something I would do.
That's fun. Never thought about painting your suitcase. Imagine the suitcase is like, travel with me.
I would draw like a giant like evil eye. That's what I'm imagining he drew.
That's fun. Someone else comments, I was at a hospital visiting my mom-in-law when I bought a burger from the hospital cafeteria. That damn burger gave me the squirts for a week solid. It was absolutely cursed. The gas and squirts were so violent and made my ears pop.
Ew.
And then someone responds, a violent demon indeed.
That's what they used to think back in the day. It's like, I got sick. It must have been a demon.
Diarrhea demon is possessing me.
This is our last story. Story number 7. It's coming from r/ghosts. It's called Unexplained Happenings at the Thrift Store. So this is a story from another employee that worked at a thrift store. When I first started working at the thrift store, I didn't think about anything paranormal. I know a lot of people have issues with thrift stores since they often receive belongings of the deceased, but my family were antique collectors and I grew up having experiences in my house. I went into the job not thinking much about it. What kind of experiences? Like, I'm kind of wondering, like, did they have paranormal experiences or just experience with like older items?
I mean, what kind of experience could they have with older items if not paranormal?
True. Well, because she said, or like the OP said, that they didn't think anything paranormal at first when they started working there. It was a new building on a new road, which stopped abruptly past the store, waiting to be connected to something in the future. I'd go behind the building sometimes with my coworker, and we'd walk around back there, which was undeveloped. It was a large open prairie with tall mounds and farmland further back. We'd hang out on limestone boulders and search for bed fossils on our breaks. The first thing I noticed were odd bangs that always happened at closing. It sounded like someone was banging loudly on the roof. It didn't happen every night, only some nights. Sometimes you'd also hear a weird popping noise by the side door. Once the lights were out, you'd also sometimes hear a cartwheel squeaking slightly, hangers moving along the racks, and plastic bags rustling. All of this might have some non-paranormal explanation, but it was creepy nonetheless. Other things were hard to explain away. One day I was shopping on my day off and was talking to one of our regular customers. I was probably 12 feet from him, and right in between us on the top shelf was a clear glass teacup, part of a larger set. At one point I looked at the cup, and right then it flew off the shelf. I say it flew because it didn't just fall over the edge due to someone bumping the shelf. It traveled to the center of the aisle, but maybe 4 feet back, landing about 2 feet from my shoes. I remember the shocked look on the customer's face. He would spend hours in there, but instantly left after that. Another day, a coworker and I were closing up, and he saw an old man thumping through the center clothes rack. This was confusing as we hadn't seen anyone in the store when we locked up. The man's bald head and big 1980s style glasses were peering over. Annoyed, my coworker confronted the man, telling him he had to leave and that they were closed. The man didn't move, so my coworker walked to the other side of the rack to ask him to leave again, but no one was there. That same week, a music box randomly started playing full blast after we turned the lights out, creeping us all out. One other incident involved the sound of a woman humming. A coworker of mine said she'd heard it in certain areas of the store, but I didn't really think anything of it and figured she was just making things up. We noticed an odd smell that would come in and go in the same part of the store. It's hard to explain it as I don't know what it was. kind of like a weird, acrid burn smell. Anyways, later that day, I was putting items out in that area and I heard the humming. I looked around thinking maybe my coworker was doing it to mess with me, but no one was there. I never heard it again after that. The final thing I'll mention is how my boss felt about the place. She was a happy-go-lucky person, and I saw a different side of her when I'd come in for the morning shift. She always looked spooked and very quiet. So I eventually asked her if she ever noticed anything odd when opening up alone. She was a very religious person who was not supposed to think about such things, and I could tell something was weighing on her. She told me that she prayed every morning because she was terrified. She would hear people knocking at the donation door in the back, but when she'd go to it, no one would be there. She said she also heard people on the sales floor sometimes, but then she'd go out there, it'd just be her. The thrift store closed a couple of years ago, and I often think of going back and checking it out. I don't know what was there, but I definitely feel like there was something.
Spooky.
It's interesting too because she said it was a new building, but I kind of feel like it's not the building necessarily that could be haunted. Most of the time it's like the items that have attachment to it.
Yeah, the items also could be the land itself. Like maybe there's another building that was there before where there's a ghost. The ghost wanted to stay.
It seems like there were
that
multiple
spot.
ghosts.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely seems like it's the items for sure.
Someone said, "Thanks for sharing. I enjoy thrifting, and the stores by me always seem to be busy. Sometimes I'll be drawn to an item, but if I get a bad vibe, I put it back. The teacup and humming incidents sound really creepy. What is housed in the store now, if you don't mind me asking?" Edit. Years ago, I worked in a Pier 1 that was haunted. Kind of a similar situation. New build, newly developed area, so you wouldn't think haunted. Nearly all my coworkers, believers and non-believers of the supernatural, saw men dressed in the 1800s cowboy clothes several times. Long dusty jacket, wide brimmed hat, big mustache, stubbles, beard. Nothing bad happened, but we always encountered him alone, and my manager was freaked out because she saw him when she was closing up by herself. He always appeared to me when I was alone in the stockroom. And then OP responded, "Thanks for taking the time to read it. As of summer 2023, the building was still vacant. There have been a couple of buildings built past it, but the road still leads to nowhere, and it doesn't seem like there are any development prospects happening. That's so cool about the old cowboy, especially since multiple people saw him. Stuff like this makes me wonder, especially when it's a new build. I'm always tempted to find old maps online and see what an area was like long ago. Was it a scary sensation when you saw him, or was it just like you were seeing any other person?" And then that person responded, "It was more of a surprise when I saw him. I didn't feel threatened. He likes to make his presence known, I think. If this space ever gets turned into another business, I think you should check it out again." Yeah, I'm kind of curious, like, even if it is items that are in the store that were haunting it, do you think once it's removed, would the place would still be haunted?
I mean, it depends.
I guess they would be attached to the item, so I don't know if it would move, if the ghosts are just like going on vacation.
Unless they're attached to the item, but then they come into this new space and they're like, I like it in here.
I kind of also wonder, like, do ghosts exist in places where it's just like there's no people? Or do they like to be in the places where people are?
Depends on the ghost, I guess. Extroverted ghosts like to be around people. Introverted, not so much. This cowboy, it sounds like he likes attention.
Mm-hmm. It's like, "Hey, look at me."
Hey there, little lady. Yeehaw.
But yeah, there's not too many comments on this post. But I thought it, even though it kind of similar to that other story about a person writing in working at the thrift store, this one sounded interesting too because it was like in a new location, like it's just like a new build.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, but I don't think it's the building. I think it's definitely the items that were haunting it.
Yeah. And we're ghost experts, so we would know.
Yeah. So this is the end of our 7th episode. If you've got this far, thank you so much for listening. Remember to like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments which story you like the best and which topics you want us to cover next. If you want to check out the final art for today's episode, go to our Instagram at babayaga's_crib. You can also follow us on TikTok at baba.yaga.crib. And see you next time if you find your way back.